now. I'm gonna hit play on my music. All right, excellent. All right, so let's get started. So we're gonna come to a comfortable seat on our mats, on our chairs, on our cushions. And think of lifting from the lower ribs, from that sternum area, and see if that creates a sense of lifting in the spine, opening up the body to a little bit more air, giving yourself a little more space as you sit. And perhaps we can begin to lower our gaze, or maybe even close our eyes. If you need something to do with your hands, you can gently rub the tops of your legs or bring them to a prayer pose. Just take a few moments here to deliberately lengthen our inhales and lengthen our exhales. With each inhale, feel yourself expanding not only up and down through your spine, but laterally as well, expanding outwards. And with each exhale, feel your body compressing, pressing the air out. With your exhales, maybe you can relax your shoulders down your back. Just create a clearer channel for the air to flow. May we always acknowledge the goodness within us. And may we always stay connected to that goodness. Excellent. You can begin to flutter your eyes open. I invite you to play around with having your eyes closed or open during any part of this practice. This practice is all about you and what you want to bring to it. So if there's certain postures you want to try out, or if there's certain breathing techniques you want to sit in longer, I invite you to do whatever feels good for you and just use my voice and my instruction as a guide for today. Wonderful. So we are going to warm up with my favorite cat and cow. So if we want to bring our bodies into a nice tabletop position, hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips, tops of the feet pressing down. On an inhale, we're going to lift our gaze, lift your tailbone, and let your belly drop. And on the exhale, send all the air out as you compress, dome your spine, gazing between your legs. Inhale, cow, taking your time. And exhale, cat. Breathing deeply. We're just warming up our back, engaging our wrists, engaging our necks, working with expansion and contraction. You want to take little circles. This is where it's up to you, yogi's choice. You can do little figure eights. Just play around with your hips moving forward or opening as you send your hips forward and back. Maybe you roll your shoulders, curl your toes, anything that feels good here. Wonderful. All right, and then gently find your way back into your tabletop. And we're going to open up our shoulders a little bit with our threading the needles. Inhale, that right hand, gaze follows. And letting the exhale, take that hand underneath the left elbow as you bring this right ear to the floor. Maybe you want to walk your left fingers out in front. Hips are in the air. Excellent. Bringing that left hand down to the tabletop position. Next inhale, lifting that right arm back up to the sky, unwinding. Exhale, setting it back down underneath your shoulder. And that same cycle of breath, your next inhale lifts your left hand up. Gaze follows. On the exhale, sending that hand underneath the right elbow. Maybe you walk your right fingers forward. Take a moment to breathe and just feel into this position. Where do you Notice any compression. Where do you notice any lengthening? On your next inhale, almost as one movement, bringing your right hand up back under your shoulder, lifting your left hand up, unwinding, and exhale, sending it back down. Excellent. And we're just going to continue with our back stretches with a nice open child's pose. So just opening your knees a little wider than your hips if that's comfortable, sending those hips back and walking your hands as forward as they'd like to be, letting your neck relax, forehead to the floor. Deep breath in. And exhale. Child's pose is a nice centering pose. You're connected with the earth, but you're also sort of connected with yourself in this nice dome shape you're making. It's a good place to remember our intention for practice. It's a good time to reconnect with a sense of goodness that you hold. Just take a moment to reconnect with who you are and who you want to be. On your next inhale, gently coming back through tabletop. My little headphone thing is coming out of my shirt. There we go. And we're going to walk your hands forward about a palm print ahead of your shoulders. So about a palm print in front of your shoulders, tucking your toes, sending those hips up as if strung on a clothesline. Your first downward dog of our practice together. Maybe you want to walk out those legs. Walk the dog. Excellent, and then settling into this posture, checking on your knuckles to see if all 10 knuckles and fingerprints are pressing into the earth, relaxing your neck back, crown of the head towards the floor. Take a deep, long inhale here, sigh it out. One more time, let it go. And look forward towards your fingers and begin to walk your feet towards your hands as we begin our flow. Letting your hands hang, or option to reach opposite elbows with a nice bend in your knee and swing side to side. Very gently, just seeing what's here, noticing our range in this rotation. And when you feel ready, centering yourself here, letting your fingers drop, bending your knees. I'm going to roll up one vertebrae at a time, just uncurling to reveal your whole self to the earth. Now let's take a moment in our Tadasana, our mountain pose, ripping through the floor, starting with our foundation, our feet connecting, our toes gripping. Feel that energy travel past your ankles. Notice how it invigorates the muscles up your legs, moves through your pelvis, opens your heart, sending your shoulders back, and lifts your chin towards the sky. Energy radiating out through your fingertips. Deep breath here. Maybe your eyes close. Wonderful. On your next inhale, bend your knees, send those arms out and up above your head. Palms come together. Deep breath, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, palms together, slicing the air in front of you, sending those hands down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, extending through the spine in both directions. Exhale, lower down. Do our halfway lift again. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we're going to bend our knees, plant our hands, step your right foot back and left foot back. High plank or low plank. Inhale here. Hold for the exhale wherever you are. Inhale to gaze forward, shift your energy forward and lower, leading with your heart as best you can with a flat kind of back. Untucking the toes, pulling the palms back a smidge, pressing up into your baby cobra. Elbows pulling towards each other. Exhale, lowering your forehead to the ground, moving through your tabletop, planting your hands a little in front of your shoulders, tucking your toes up through downward facing dog. Deep breath here. And exhale to bend your knees slightly, sending those hips higher. Inhale here. And exhale to begin to straighten those knees again, keeping those hips kind of where they were when they were bent, or at least that's our intention. Now you're gonna lift your left foot a little bit and center it in between your hands, as if your hands and your left foot were making a triangle. On your next inhale, we're gonna lift our right foot, keeping it nice and flexed and toes pointing towards the ground. Exhale here. Squaring your hips. Inhale, send it a little higher so you can turn that knee out to the right side. And then you're almost like kicking the wall behind you. That right heel is pressing a little towards the left wall. Maybe you gaze under that right armpit, getting a nice hip opener. Ah, yes. Inhale, gaze comes back to center. Knee squares. Exhale, we're gonna send that right foot between the hands. So get some momentum. Exhale, and step between. It might take a couple hops or steps. You may keep your knee up in this higher lunge or lower the back knee for our first lunge to keep it a little more grounded. Take a moment to square your hips wherever you are. So your left hip pulls forward, your front hip pulls back. And using your thigh, propping up into a tall spine. Sending your arms up like you might in tree pose. Out, out, up. Hands come to prayer maybe. Exhale, opening the palms into goalpost arms or cactus arms. Inhale to do a slight back bend. Just your shoulders are pulling together. Your lower back is still strong, belly button pulling towards your spine. Exhale, sending those palms down to frame your front foot, taking on some of the weight, sending the right foot back into a high or low plank. Inhale to shift forward, heart to the ground. On your exhale, Shavasana. Untuck your feet, pulling the hands back a little to meet your low ribs. Low or a little higher, Cobra. Exhale, down to the ground. Hands come back under shoulders. Moving through tabletop or plank, tucking the toes, hips in the air, downward facing dog. Well done. Deep breath here. And inhale. On the exhale, bending those knees to send the hips a little higher. And then on your inhale, trying to keep your hips just as high as you had them as you straighten back up. Now we're going to bring our right foot to the middle of the mat to get right in between those hands. Our left foot is going to lift, keeping our heels square with our hips. Take a breath. We're going to send our heel a little higher so we can rotate that left knee pointing to the left side, sending that left heel towards the right. Maybe you gaze under your left shoulder. Good, and then squaring your head, squaring your hips. On the exhale, we're gonna send our left foot in between our hands. So take a deep inhale here. And exhale, knee high, stepping it in between those hands. Your back knee can drop, your back knee can stay lifted. Inhale, using your thigh to prop up, squaring those hips. Take a moment here. Inhale, arms of your choice. I'm gonna reach them out and up, palms meeting. And then on the exhale, I'm gonna bring them into cactus arms, do a slight back bend. Hands can be on your hips, hands can be in prayer, hands can be reaching behind, energizing through that back heel. And exhale to lower those arms to frame the front foot, sending the left leg back to meet the right. Inhale to get long. Exhale, sending that body down between the elbows, untucking the toes, moving up into cobra, maybe upward dog. And rolling back down to the floor. Well done. Into tabletop. And then hips back into child's pose. Here in child's pose, you have the option with arms. You can keep them out in front. You can prop up on your fingertips to get a little more energy in the shoulder blades. Oops. You can send your arms back. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gently place my elbows on the floor and do prayer arms above my neck. And as you breathe here, just reconnect. Reconnect with why you chose to do yoga today, what motivated you even slightly to just log in. Where does your goodness lie? We reconnect with our goodness. Excellent. When you're ready, lowering the arms back, palms down in front of you, sending your hips up into a tabletop. Gonna bring those palms out in front a little bit, tucking the toes, hips up, downward dog. We won't be here for very long. Inhale deeply. Sigh it out. Inhale. And on your exhale, begin to walk your hands towards your feet. Take your time, use your own breath. Forward fold. Inhale to bend your knees, reach your arms out, 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 and up. Palms come together on your exhale. Take a moment, reconnect. Palms pressing towards each other, engaging the upper back and shoulders. Feeling rooted in our foundation, our toes, our heels. Leaning into the pinky toe side of our feet as much as the big toe side. So AKA the middle, the balance. Good. Just envision yourself in this mountain pose. Strong, stable, timeless, so much more below than meets the eye. Excellent. We can open our eyes if they were closed, letting our hands relax. We're going to turn to face the long edge side of our mat, so facing me essentially. We're still in our Tadasana feet. We're just going to step our feet out 3.5, 4 feet, more or less underneath our wrists. If you have your screen on, you can kind of like mirror and see yourself. A nice wide triangle. We're going to start with we're going to move into our Virabhadrasana 1, our Warrior 1, by turning our right toes 45 degrees, so the right toes are facing now the right side of your mat. We're going to turn the left toes about half of that. So they're on a diagonal. They're not facing front in the same way. They're on that nice diagonal. Not out, not front, diagonal. Did I say diagonal? Diagonal. Your front foot, it's going to try to be, if you drew a line from your front heel, it's going to kind of hit right in the middle of your back foot. So your legs aren't like super diagonal, sideways. Anyhow, let's send our arm. Go, squaring your hips to face the front. And that's where a lot of the energy comes from in this pose, is this squaring of the hips. You may have to make some adjustments so your hips feel more square. Let's start with our arms. Inhale, deep inhale to send those arms up past your ears, energize out through the fingers. Just notice the strength in this pose. Can you balance in this pose? Can you feel grounded through both feet? Inhale to get tall. And exhale to send the right knee to bend the front knee as slightly or as much as you like. Just make sure that you can still see your toes on the right leg, so you might want to squirm them out a little bit. And just play with your lunge, keep those hips square, keep your heart open to the front of your mat. You might get a visit by the dog. Hi, Sochi. You can't see this adorable dog, but I can. Excellent. Now we're going to move into our Warrior 3. So we're going to do this twice, so you have a chance to kind of get figure it out and then try it. So everything is squared over that right knee. You're going to lift the back toe to be on the ball and then rotate it so that both knees are squared. So if you were to lower your knee, you'd be in a kneeling position. You're going to get a little springiness off that back leg because you're going to lift it into the air. Whenever you're ready, stabilize on that front foot, lifting the back foot. The left foot's in the air, you can hang like this. Well done, flexing both left foot. You want to take it a little more, sending that heart forward, heel lifting like a seesaw. Your hands can reach out in front. They can be at your hips. They can be behind. Woo. Your hands are out in front. Option to clasp your hands together and then extend your index fingers. It's just another variation. Good, bend your knee, sending that foot back. Shake it out. We're gonna move through that one more time because it sometimes like just slowly being guided into a balance. You're like, wait, if I was prepared for that, I might have nailed it. All right, so starting with our foundation. Legs as wide as our wrist, turning that right foot to face the right side of the mat. Turning the left foot on a diagonal, making sure the feet might bisect if you brought them together. Squaring the hips, making any adjustments to the lower half so we can square. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to bend the right knee. Stepping it forward if you need to expand that position. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Whew, take a moment to ground here. Paying special attention to that front foot, which is going to be our main support in a few moments. Next, inhale, propping the back heel up, rotating that back leg so it's square and you're right on the ball of that left foot. Get ready to spring off a little bit, lifting that back foot in the air behind you. Ooh. And if you'd like to seesaw a little bit, to get that, two people on a seesaw who weigh exactly the same amount, to get that both sides hovering. Take whatever arms suit you, or anything you want to try out. Can we relax our shoulders? Can we? Is it even possible in this pose? Good, and when you're ready, slight bend in that front leg, sending the back foot down. Inhale, exhale to straighten the front leg, bring the arms down. And so we're gonna keep this Warrior 1 position. Front toes facing the front, back toes on a diagonal. Actually, I'm sorry, back toes facing the side of the mat. So your feet would make a T. Right toes front, back toes facing the side of your mat. Inhale, arms out, hips squared more to the front of the room. Inhale to get long through those fingers, and exhale to gently tilt from the midline, from the middle of your body to the right side. Coming into a sort of modified triangle here. If you'd like to use the floor or your own leg, go for it. Trying to inhale to open that heart more to the sky. Exhale, slight bend in that front knee to help support as you rise. Excellent, hands come to the hips. Both toes now are pointing to the front. When I say front, I just mean the long edge of your mat to me. I don't know how everyone's oriented in their own spaces over Zoom. Excellent. Now we're going to reverse that. We're going to start with our little modified triangle here. So we're going to inhale, bringing that left foot to face the left edge of your mat. Right foot can stay there, or you can slightly bring it in if that's comfortable. You're going to stay torso out to me. Inhale, arms out. Exhale, hips go slightly to the right. So your torso sends your arms down, kind of like arms on a clock. Good, if you have a block, excellent place to use it to really add length to your body. If you'd like to use your shin as a little support, go for it. Take a deep breath here, opening up to the sky. Exhale, bending that front knee slightly to help support you rising, hands coming to your hips. Now we're going to send that back foot to that diagonal. So it's not completely facing the front, it's kind of to the corner, the front right corner of your mat. Front foot, your left foot, toes pointing straight ahead. All right. Carefully squaring our hips to the left leg. Our hips are like train tracks on the left side. Inhale to send those arms up. Exhale, settling the shoulders and maybe bringing a bend into that front knee. Doesn't have to be a big bend. If you want it bigger, just make sure that you don't send your knee past your ankle. Really feeling down the pinky toe side of your right foot, keeping the hips squared. Inhale, strong here. Exhale to prop up. Oh, I didn't even realize the TV was on behind me. To prop up on the ball of your foot, squaring your hips. And then we're going to move through our Warrior 3 again. So getting ready. Maybe you just practice your balance, seeing how you feel. Maybe you want to begin to seesaw, teeter-totter. Your belly button is still pulling towards your spine. Core is strong. Whew, keep practicing. Turn this off, maybe. I actually don't know how to work the TV in this room, so maybe not. Whatever. Good, and then sending it back, we're going to move through that one more time. Oh, here it is. There it goes. All right. So resetting with our foundation. Right toes, left toes, front of the mat. Back toes, up, diagonal. Hips square, adjusting your feet so that's a comfortable shift. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bending the front leg, keeping the hips square or re-squaring them, warrior one. Inhale to prop up on the ball of that back foot and rotate it so it is square. And on your own, play around with your warrior three where you'd like it to be. We'll take a few moments to play. When you feel good and ready, there's no rush, just slightly bending your front leg to guide that left leg down. Well done. Good job. And let's point the toes, both feet to the front of the mat, giving yourself a little shake. Warrior one has a lot of twisting involved, so really kind of realign everything. You're in your own bodies, do what feels good for you. Inhale, heart up. Exhale to send the arms out. Inhale, heart up. Exhale, we've done this before. Left hand to right toes. Inhale, nice and slowly like you're moving through water. Exhale, right hand to left toes. One more each side like you're moving through water. Making little X's with our bodies. You can even close your eyes, trusting where your body's going. Or maybe you get a little seasick, which is my situation. Excellent. Hands come to the hips. All right, we're going to do a forward fold here, but a slight variation. We're going to extend the arms out. So inhale, past prayer, sending those arms up. You have some options here. You can't really see my hands, but you can clasp your hands and extend your index finger, or you can just keep them strong out ahead. Inhale to get tall. Exhale, sending the hips back, bending at your hips and your waist. Get into a halfway lift. Attempting like a tabletop, keeping a micro bend in your knees to keep them safe. Reaching forward with those fingers, gaze towards the earth. Exhale, relax wherever your hands come. If you have a pillow or blocks, that can be very supportive. Excellent, and let's just walk on our fingertips towards the right side. If you're on a block or a pillow, just lean your upper body towards that right side. Exhale to move past center. Next, inhale, moving to the left. Exhale, coming to center. Bending your knees enough so that your palms meet the ground, if that's possible for you. Just carefully bending one knee and then the other. Moving into this as much or as little as you want. This is meant to be a restorative, kind of get back into your body movement. Excellent. Now we're going to bend both knees, center, rolling up through the spine. Chin is the last thing to rise. Keeping with that flow, extending the arms out. And we're going to do the same gesture. Bending one knee and then the other. We tuck our tailbone in a little bit just to engage that lower core. Your toes, if they want to slightly turn out, please do that if that's comfortable for you. Shoulders down, relaxed. Good. Good. Now we're going to slightly send our torsos forward. Same thing. This is where we start generating a little heat. Good, so now your core is keeping your torso up, but not fully up that it doesn't have to work. Good. Energize out through those fingertips like your wings for 3, 2, 1, and come back to the middle. Bend your knees, however is comfortable to roll up. Do so. Give yourself a little shake. Well done. All right, we've done a lot of work on the back leg muscles, our glutes, so let's stretch it all out. Also with a nice balance. Excellent, right on track. All right, I invite you to stand about hips width distance apart. You're not gripping that foundation that we've been working on with our feet. Sometimes it's easier to balance when you step off your mat and you're on a more solid floor. Feel free to play around with that. You're gonna grip through your heel, pinky toe side, big toe side of your feet, draping your toes, just to really get connected with the earth, toes pointing forward. You're gonna carefully lift your right foot up and cross your ankle over that left thigh, making like a 4. I don't know if I'm mirror image or not, but it could be a backwards 4. Good, and you can even play around here, flexing that foot so it doesn't sickle up or down. Hands maybe come to prayer, slight bend in that left leg. Your next inhale, grounding through that foot, stabilize. You exhale, begin to sit back like you're sitting on a chair and you're about to have like coffee and you just cross your leg over. Heart stays lifted. Maybe you feel that nice stretch in the back of the right glute, in that hip. Good. We open our heart taller, sitting a little lower. Hold for 3, 2, 1. And with that same delicate flow, standing up, releasing that right leg. So give it a nice little shake. It's not unusual for your supporting leg to cramp a little bit in that position. Cramps are okay. When it starts feeling like a sharp pain or jabbing pain or pain you've never felt before, take it easy. That's a kind of general throughout all of practice. It doesn't have to be with this position exclusively. All right, take a moment to catch your breath. I find balances actually like tax my breathing a lot, which shows a lot of places I have room to grow in terms of my breath and how it flows with my body. All right, we're gonna ground through the floor with our right foot this time. Connecting with that heel, big toe mound, pinky toe mound. Very deliberate, draping those toes over to really expand its range on the floor. You can keep a slight micro bend in that knee. Carefully lift that left leg up. Cross that ankle over, keeping the heel flexed and setting that hip backwards a little. Hands can come to prayer. You can hang out like this. You're definitely still getting a hip opener. Take it another variation. Take a deep breath to ground and really feel yourself here. And exhale to sit back on an invisible chair. Actually, an invisible chair, would you feel it? Like would you eventually just sit on it? Sit back on a chair that's not there. Roll those shoulders back to open and lift that heart space. Keep breathing. Maybe you can sink a little lower onto that couch. The couch is not there. Our mystery couch, our ghost couch. Maybe we can lift our torso without straightening our legs. Hold for 3. Breathe 2 and 1. Same delicate, gentle release that you did going down. Shake it out. Wow, well done. All right, my friends, let's move through our final Shavasana of the day. I'm slightly moving into this wood pile. Our hips, feet underneath our hips. Give them a little wiggle. Bend your knees. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Palms meet for a moment above your head, maybe a slight back bend. This time we're going to open our arms on our exhale, swan dive forward, leading with that heart. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, flow. Listen, bend your knees. Using your peace fingers, index finger and thumb. Let's just do your index finger and thumb. Bend your knees enough so maybe you can reach over your big toes and give them a little finger hug. So you're gripping your big toes with your index and thumb. Bending your knees, maybe your rib cage can make contact with your thighs, maybe not. But the point being, give yourself a nice bend. Good. Just hang. Bending your knees, but sending your hips up in the air. And notice how By bending your knees, you actually can emphasize the upper hamstrings and glutes more than if you keep everything straight, where it starts really emphasizing your calves and lower hamstrings. So bending those knees, sending the hips up. Relaxing your neck. And now that we've given it some breath, perhaps we want to stretch the calves a little more by straightening our knees a little more. They don't have to, in fact, I wouldn't recommend locking them, but maybe we can move towards straightening. We're seeing how in the effort of straightening, what starts getting engaged? What is our body starting to tell us? And always relax your neck. You can give it a little nod or a shake to make sure that neck is nice and loose. Loosey-poo. Good. Inhale, maybe we can open our hearts, like sending those shoulders back, hearts open. Excellent, and release. Well done. Bending your knees. Let's roll up one vertebrae at a time, just to recalibrate down our legs. Hands can stay down, just roll those shoulders back. All right. Final reach, out and up. Move through that flow, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, sending those arms down, planting the palms, stepping those feet back. Inhale, high or low plank. Let's take a moment in our plank. Let's engage our cores a little more deliberately before we start winding down our class. We're gonna do a little something I learned called London bridges. Whatever. So what you're gonna do is send your hips a little up and drop them to the right. Woo, but don't let them touch the ground. Inhale up, exhale, drop them to the left. Ooh, yeah, making a nice rainbow. We're gonna do them for maybe 10 seconds. 5 seconds. You got it, you can do it. You've probably done things way harder than this. And I don't mean physically, I mean just with all the emotional labor we put in just to get through each day in a difficult world. You are stronger than you may think. Inhale to get back to center. Exhale, drop the knees. Well done. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale, drop the knees. One more. Inhale, lift the knees. And exhale to drop almost to the floor. Hover. Pressing away from the floor with those hands. Hold for 5. Breathe 3. 1. Drop the knees. Shift your heart forward. Final chaturanga. Let those feet go. Let the hands go. Rest one ear on the ground. Close your eyes and restore. Maybe we switch ears. Excellent. And just bring your forehead to the floor. We're going to plant our forearms on the ground and then send our upper bodies up and just walk your hands in a little bit so they are in line with your shoulders. They're not like out like a penguin pose. Now this is Sphinx pose. This is another one like Tadasana mountain pose that I really like to imagine really embodying the Sphinx. So you don't have to, know too much about the construction of the Sphinx or what it represents to really feel how majestic it is and how it has weathered so many years and civilizations and so much damage, and yet it's still so strong. And it hasn't crumbled, and neither have you. Maybe we close our eyes and just take a moment. Let yourself embody it. Let yourself be a Sphinx for a moment. What's around you? Are you in the desert? Is it nighttime? Are there stars? What color is the night sky? What color is the daylight sky? Excellent job. And then using your palms, carefully lowered down, palms underneath your shoulders, just move through a tabletop, crossing your ankles to send those that booty between your legs to get to a nice sitting position. Just adjust yourself. do a little bit of stretching to cool down. All right, so what you're gonna do essentially is stack your shins on top of each other. What? Well, allow me to explain. So the way we kind of sit crisscross applesauce in like daycare, similar. Sending the side of your left leg down or whichever leg you like and stacking the other on top. And so your bottom heel is aligned with your top knee. Your top heel is aligned with your bottom knee. And then doing your best to activate those feet by flexing them. You might notice it goes from sort of a sinking position to a much kind of more alert position. If this is painful, create some more space by drawing your knees further apart or put one foot in front, like a crisscross applesauce position. If you're here comfortably, inhale to get tall and exhale to send your heart forward. You might immediately start noticing some firing in your hips. So take it as far as you feel that you want to. Maybe don't even take it as far as you can go, but take it before that, just to a place where you're comfortable, so that when you do sink a little further, your body lets you. If you have a pillow in this practice, I have a new setup today, so I don't have a pillow, but putting a pillow right here, all of a sudden this position becomes so much more accessible and yet still so beneficial. And then using your hands to roll up. And this is a nice time, if you have other things you want to do in practice, you're like, hey, where's my headstand? Feel free to take this time. We're just going to continue to stretch if you're following my lead. Otherwise, do whatever feels right for you. So we're going to keep our feet stacked like so, except we're going to pull the top leg a little further out so now our knees are stacking. Make any adjustments, your knees are crossed. People tend to feel a little more tension the further out they pull their feet, and a little more comfort the further in they pull their feet. Same situation here. Inhale to get tall, and exhale to forward fold. Oh yeah. Good. Again, same with the pillow. If you're like, I'm finding that I hate this pose, but I'm doing it because Catherine's like telling me to, add a pillow, add some support. Help yourself, help yourself. You know, any motto you want to throw into it. Pillows are great. I usually use them in all my practices. Pillows or bolsters or blocks, especially when we're able to go back into the studios safely. Like I look like I'm like a superhero. I have like so many props and gadgets around me. I don't even use half of them, but I just like to know that they're there. If something's feeling tight or inaccessible, I can like expand the length of my arms. I can set my, my seat up a little higher so I can reach further out. This is lovely, just lovely. It actually was a pretty big game changer in my yoga practice. And begin to roll back up. And we're gonna extend our legs and give them a shake. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So whichever leg you had above, now you're gonna set it below and stack your shins. Again, if this is uncomfortable, just sitting in a nice crisscross, just switching the cross, or opening your knees a little wider. Inhale to get tall, flexing those feet, keeping them energized. Exhale to set the heart forward. Wherever you are, with whatever pillows you want or need. And breathe. When I say it was a game changer, I mean, I think to some extent, I still have to come back to this again and again, but yoga used to be sort of a competitive space for me, and you go in and you're practicing with others if you're not doing a home practice, and just looking around, seeing what everyone's doing, and depending on the style of the teacher, you're not sure if you're doing it right. You don't always want a hands-on assist, which I appreciate, and it just becomes a sort of atmosphere of like, am I getting in touch with myself? Am I connecting my breath with my movement? Or is this kind of like monkey brain creating anxiety that's actually probably in the long run like hindering my practice of yoga? Yoga meaning to yoke, meaning to unite. Was I actually getting further and further away from these parts of me I wanted to bring together to find inner peace? And I think, yeah. And begin to roll back up. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. Maybe I'm telling stories to distract you. Or maybe I just want to hear myself talk. And we're gonna now cross that knees, keeping that same leg on top. Again, sending those feet out further. You would like to feel a little more activation, bringing them in closer if you want a little more comfort. Finding your happy place takes time and repeat practice. Inhale to get tall, and exhale to send it down. And so then when I finally got into a yoga setting that insisted and really encouraged the use of props. So I used to be like, no, props mean I can't do it. But half the time I couldn't really do it because I wasn't connecting with my breath. You know, I could sort of maybe imitate the shape, but that's sort of, you know, sort of missing the greater purpose. And it was like, no, feel the expansion of your spine by using this, you know, this strap to connect to your foot rather than your hands. You know, using this pillow, notice how much easier it is to breathe, and then how much easier it is to really connect with the position and to reimagine yourself in these shapes and why we take these shapes. And I was like, oh my goodness, what have I been doing my whole life? If you haven't dropped your chin to relax your neck, do so. Just take a moment in silence to reconnect. Let's bring it back to you and not my yoga journey. Reconnecting to the goodness that is in you. Staying connected. And carefully bringing those hands back to support your uncurling of the spine. Maybe just stretching out the neck a little bit, right and left. Whew, cracking your neck if you're me. If you're sending your neck in circles, just be mindful of these circles. Good. And uncrossing your legs and shaking them out. Excellent job. All right, my friends. Now our final moments. You're gonna plant your soles of your feet on the ground, knees up, and send your arms out, almost like we're doing like a boat pose. And we're gonna kind of make our chest concave, so really rounding through that spine. And as slowly as you can, rolling down to the floor. At some point you might be like, oh, I feel that, I feel that. And wherever you feel it the most, maybe take a breath in that pose, pause there. Maybe you feel some shaking. And on your exhale, continue the descent down to the floor. Excellent job. Keeping the soles of the feet on the ground, bringing them a little closer to you, so maybe you can reach the heels of your feet with your fingers. Option to do bridge or wheel here. I encourage you all to start with bridge just to warm up. Hands planted on the ground, belly button pressing, kind of reducing that space in your lower back and the floor. Inhale to lift from that belly button, bridge pose. Keeping your neck nice and steady. You can send your hands here for some support. You can send a block or a pillow underneath. It might drop your hips, but who cares? If your hands are released, maybe you want to clasp them underneath. Hold it for 3. Breathe, 2. 1. Release your hands, release the posture. Arms out, gently windshield wiper your legs, keeping your shoulders flat to the ground. If you have a wood block, make sure you don't get splinters in your knees. Excellent. And now we're going to move through that one more time. I'm going to move through wheel because I don't think I have led anybody through wheel on Zoom before. If you're staying with bridge, do exactly as we did. Your heels making contact with your fingers, then plant the hands, lifting from that lower belly. If you are moving through wheel, same setup in the lower back. Your hands are going to flip and go beside your ears. Inhale to lead with your hips. Please be careful if you do not typically do wheel. It's really helpful to have somebody there to support you. I cannot encourage this enough. If you even just want to play around, just be really mindful of your neck and head. I'm not there to help with any injuries. So if you are getting ready to pop up into bridge or wheel, take a deep breath. And exhale, pressing through the hands in your wheel, lifting from your belly button. Maybe you want to send your weight between your hands and wheel. Hold for 3, 2, 1. And in wheel, tuck your chin in so the tops of your shoulders hit the ground first, rolling down through the spine. Very nice, extending out your legs, stretching your arms overhead. Take a deep breath, restoring air down your body. And then taking any concluding pose that you'd like. I'm going to lead through Happy Baby, because it's one of my faves. Hands are going to reach for the soles of the feet, knees on the outsides of the elbows, and a nice rock side to side. Some of you might want to move through shoulder stand or plow. I love Happy Baby because in terms of imagining the poses, really embodying them, like Sphinx and Mountain, like Happy Baby is like, I only imagine just like nonsensical laughter, and that's like the best kind of laughter, right? You can like almost like imagine like a baby just like rolling around in this position, just like being happy. And then they cry because they need to change their diapers. But you know, we'll embody the happy part as much as we can. Maybe we close our eyes. Excellent. And then as if in slow motion, sending those feet down to the ground, extending the legs, letting the feet drop open. If you want to lower any volume as we wind down into our final resting position, lower the volume on your music. Do so now. If you want to turn off a light. Nikki, my trusty assistant, would you mind turning this light off for me? Oh, no, the light's right over there on the switch. Yeah, thank you. Just like that, magic. Arms open out, kind of like a star, but they're relaxed. Notice if your palms rested with the palm side up or palm side down. Maybe your palms are up in a state of receiving grace, receiving energy. Maybe they want to rest down in a state of grounding and connection. Whatever you need, let's manifest it together. Into, if you have like any last minute fidgets or itches you want to get out, let those out. And then allow yourself to release. We hold so tightly to the things that get us through the day. That might be a sense of anxiety and urgency. Stress is such an amazing fuel. It gets so much done. But when is enough? And when are the moments where we can restore balance and let it go? What are we afraid of if we do let it go? Are we afraid things will fall apart or that we will fall apart? Or are we just afraid that if we let it go, we'll fall asleep in yoga and, you know, the yoga teacher will have to wake us up? Just take a moment and just release. You don't even have to put words to what it is you're shedding. Let it go. Let it go in this moment. Doesn't serve us. And then returning to the breath, not doing anything anymore, just being. And as you do so, I'm going to sit up just to prepare a reading to close our class. Eyes are closed, breath is deep. And just to conclude our practice for today, I have a poem written by Alexandra Askew called Acceptance that I will read now. It happened, repeat. It happened. No more fighting against the truth, no more of the denial. It happened, chant, breathe, repeat. It happened, life push me forward, world steady my feet. It happened, focus, hold it, breathe. It happened, open up your palm, memories fall into a holding jar. It happened, lock the jar inside, darken the lights, but remember the presence. It happened. Deep breath. And release. I'm just going to repeat the very last lines of this poem. Open up your palm, memories falling into a holding jar. It happened. Lock the jar inside, darken the lights, but remember the presence. It happened. Deep breath, letting the words pass through, maybe sink in, maybe float away. I invite you to stay in this position, in this state of rest, in this state maybe for some of contemplation. If you'd like to bring some more movement back into your body, begin by just wiggling your fingers and toes. Maybe expanding the movement to your wrists and ankles as you roll them side to side. Expanding up your arms and legs to your elbows and knees. And eventually rolling over your whole body onto one side, using your arm as a headrest, tucking in your knees. Eyes still closed, using your hands to press your body up into a sitting position, nice and slowly, noticing what you notice, how you feel, what your body's doing, what emotions you have, what sensations you feel. Hands come into prayer in front of your body, in front of your heart. Sending those hands up past your third eye with an inhale. And on the exhale, bowing forward, opening your eyes once you bow, honoring yourself, honoring each other, and honoring this practice. I always offer namaste, but I also, and most deeply, offer you my deepest gratitude. Any donations for this class will be donated to the Black Women's Health Imperative. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your Saturday. Thank you for joining me. Take care, everybody.